Hey, Neil, thanks so much. Breaking right now, everyone, on the intelligence report. It now appears the investigation into Hillary Clinton's email server is a criminal probe. All FBI probes are criminal, the agency tells us, and this one is no different. So as the Republicans prep for their debate tonight, and we're going to get to that in just a minute, Hillary Clinton is now prepping a criminal defense. Now, this is important, everyone, because you'll recall there was some initial confusion when reports of the FBI probe first broke. Hillary Clinton initially tried to hint that the media had it wrong, without actually saying that the media had it wrong. Watch this.
Maybe the heat is getting to everybody. We all have a responsibility to get this right. I have released 55,000 pages of emails. I have said repeatedly that I will answer questions before the House committee. We are all accountable to the American people to get the facts right.
And then, of course, we had her lieutenants in the Democratic Party lining up to defend her. Is it right or wrong to be emailing government business from your own personal server? Right or wrong, Richard?
Colin Powell
Answer the
did
question.
it.
Right?
There's
or
nothing wrong with it. It's not. Well, we know this at a minimum. It's not against the law. So at that point, it's all your characterization against anybody else's as to what's right or wrong. There's either the lawful or not lawful, and it's not unlawful.
Of course, if it's not wrong and if it's not illegal to maintain your own server for government business, then why is there a criminal investigation by the FBI? Democratic strategist Robert Zimmerman joins me here on set, along with Republican strategist Mike Shields and cybersecurity expert Vinnie Troia. Vinnie, I'm going to start with you. You sent me an email saying what she did, maintaining her own server for government business, is absolutely illegal. Why?
Well, I mean, you have a number of regulations that you have to follow. I mean, FISMA is the most basic, and that contains a number of different, security classification levels and things like that. And then on top of that, you have the actual, full classification. I mean, whether it's unclassified emails, classified, whether it's, you're dealing with national security emails. I mean, there's so many different rules and regulations that go into running your own servers that, there's no possible way that they could be maintained just in-house like that.
And Vinnie, what's the vulnerability of all that government information on her own server?
Well, it could be a number of things. The server could be stolen, for example. Somebody could physically walk into a location like that, or the emails could be intercepted if the channels aren't properly secure. There's so many different things that could go wrong along the way, and more importantly, the emails. The FISMA regulations have backup requirements so that there's on-site backups, there's off-site backups, so that if something were to go wrong, there's that full retention that goes along with it.
Robert Zimmerman, I just don't know why she'd risk it. Was it that important?
She didn't risk a thing. That's the point. The server was secure. In fact, her server wasn't breached as opposed to the State Department and White House server. And secondly, I don't want to disappoint some of your viewers,
So
Trish.
do we encourage everybody that works in government to get their own server?
We encourage everyone who works in government to follow the rules and regulations laid out, which is what she did. Now, here's the point.
Then why is there a criminal probe right now?
Well, here's the point. The FBI made it very clear, it was reported widely in the media, there is no probe pertaining to Hillary Clinton. I don't want to disappoint some of your viewers, but ultimately what this is the result of is when there's different intelligence agencies, their inspectors general went to, in fact, the Department of Justice. The Department of Justice goes to the FBI. That's the protocol. But it's also worth noting, according to Ed Henry from Fox News, that the inspectors general acknowledged on the emails that she received, there was no intelligence.
You're splicing words here, and this is exactly what we heard Hillary Clinton do. Mark Shields, how would you describe the situation Hillary Clinton now finds herself in?
Well, look, first of all, she may say that there's no investigation, and she's sort of trying to play this down. But
no, the FBI said she's not under investigation. Let's be clear, Mark.
Well, she has just hired the same lawyer that defended David Petraeus when he was charged with the exact same thing.
That's been their family lawyer for years.
If you're hiring a lawyer,
let's get the facts straight.
If you're hiring a lawyer to protect you from a criminal investigation, I think that probably tells people that there's something going on.
Well, you're wrong when you say that, Mark. The lawyer she hired,
first of all,
the lawyer she hired has been representing them for many years.
My name is Mike, by the way. But Sandy Berger, the former national security advisor, was also charged under this. And look, this is what comes when you have a candidate who thinks that they're above the law. The rules don't really seem to apply to the Clintons. They've always approached things this way.
Mike, let's just back up for a second.
This is what happens when Republicans don't have any agenda to run on.
Let's back up, because this is an investigation into Hillary Clinton's email server that is a criminal probe. So I don't understand what you're trying to tell us here, Mr. Zimmerman. It seems as though You know, you got one thing that is fact. This is a criminal probe into her email server, and you're trying to say, no, it's not criminal?
No, I'm just quoting what's in the media. We don't know. I'm just quoting what the media reports.
FBI.
And the FBI has been quoted in the media repeatedly.
No,
in fact,
this is breaking news. We just have this out. The FBI is telling Fox Business News that the investigation into Hillary Clinton's email server is a criminal probe.
But Trish, you also said in your intro, all probes by the FBI are criminal, as you put it.
Indeed.
So that could be, so that's just a routine, that's splicing words. It doesn't mean she's the subject of any criminal probe. Let's be clear. That is not the case. And the FBI has made it very clear. She's not under investigation.
The email server is a criminal probe investigation. Anyway, I want to move on because we got a lot to talk about right here with Hillary Clinton. There's a new report out saying that Bill Clinton called Donald Trump to encourage him to run. I'm curious to get everyone's take on this. Do you think, Robert, that there could have been an ulterior motive here by Bill Clinton?
You know something? I don't know what the conversation was. I do know Bill Clinton is incredibly generous with his time. You don't have to prompt Bill Clinton to talk about politics. So it could have been a dialogue that Donald Trump encouraged. Obviously, who wouldn't want Bill Clinton's advice on politics? He's one of the smartest minds both on politics and policy in the world. Mm-hmm. So of course I'm sure he was sought out. But Bill Clinton did not encourage him to run for president. That was not connected.
Because the conspiracy theorists, Mike, think that maybe, in fact, that's exactly what Bill Clinton had intended. Any thoughts on that?
Well, I think if Bill Clinton's going to talk to someone about running for president, he ought to call his wife, because she's running a horrible campaign. I don't think anyone can really describe what Hillary Clinton's campaign is about right now, other than investigations, scandals,
it's about being up by double digits over your top candidate. That's what it's about.
I don't know.
It's about being favored by over 40%.
I think Bill needs to call Hillary and advise her on how to run a campaign, because he was
so
a great
far she's beating your candidate, so I think she's doing pretty good.
But here's the problem, guys. Hillary Clinton doesn't have the je ne sais quoi, shall we say, that Bill Clinton has and had. And that really comes down to likability. So we look at her numbers right now in New Hampshire. You see her, like it or not, Robert, slipping against the likes of Bernie Sanders. And I say to myself, why on earth? I mean, this is a socialist in a fiscally conservative state. She should do a little better there.
I'll tell you why. First of all, this has been an election. This is going to be a real election for the nomination. Bernie Sanders is the senator from the neighboring state of Vermont. He's been very familiar to the New Hampshire residents for really decades. So they like him, they know him. He's going to be a competitive candidate in many states. But here's the point that counts. Compared to the Republican candidates, she is running double digits over their top candidate, Donald Trump, and she's certainly nationally the favorite by over 40 points over any other Democratic candidate.
All right, we're going to let Vinny go. Thank you so much for joining us. The information, of course, about that server. Robert and Mike, don't go anywhere, because I want to turn to